Hey everybody, welcome to Around the Twist, episode 299. It is June 21st, 2017, and it's a day for coffee, yeah. It has been a trying day with the twins, and it's been a trying few days with the twins. We've had a really hot streak, I guess, go through weather-wise, I should say. I need to clarify and I need to raise up a little. We've been in the 90s out here in Colorado along the Front Range, and evidently moving out here and living out here for almost 3 years, I have turned into a delicate flower. I can't handle 97 degrees anymore, even if it is a dry heat, gosh darn it. So we have been living inside the house, which means we haven't been out to the parks. We haven't been to the statue park near us to let the kids run and tear around. Monday was in the 80s and it was tolerable that I took them to a splash pad that's nearby and they had fun with that. But I know the reason they've been trying is they haven't been able to get out of the house and get around and run out all that little toddler energy that they have. So mommy needs her coffee. And there have been some other things going on that I'm not going to talk about here on the show. I hate to leave you guys in the dark like that, but it's not my place to tell. It's not my story to tell, but it has been affecting me a little bit. So I'm going to leave it at that. Purposely vague. I'm sorry. Please don't ask me what it is because it's not something that I am free to share. So, knitting show, right? Okay. So let's get into what's on the needles. I started something new after last week's finish of my friend Sarah's socks, the Dublin Bay socks. I had showed you guys what I was thinking of starting, and in fact I did. I needed something to just wipe the slate clean, and it's new and I'm loving it. I decided to start the First Point of Libra shawl by Laura Ayler. This is from a kit that I purchased at My Sister Knits. You'll remember I showed you all the cute little skeins all stuffed into this bag that they stamped with their logo. My Sister Knits is a shop that's local here. They are up in Fort Collins. So the yarn, like I said, the pattern is called First Point of Libra by Laura Ayler. The yarn is from Marinated Yarns. There's the name. Let me stabilize here. There we go. And it is her Scrumptious HT base. It's a fingering weight yarn. It is an 80-10-10 superwash merino cashmere and nylon. So it's lovely and soft and squishy, and it's not super fuzzy from the cashmere, but there's just enough that you go, ooh, there's something a little bit besides merino in here. So there were this is her kit that has 6 colors to it. For some reason, I had a 7th in mind. This beautiful, that isn't going to show up. It's going to look blue. Great. It's this deep, rich purple amethyst is actually the color of it. For some reason, there was 133 yards of this. Don't know why. Don't know why. It didn't fit in with it. I looked at other people's projects on Ravelry that had done this shawl, and they did it the way I did it. So I've had this riding around in a new bag to me that has been sitting in my stash waiting to be used for a while. My mom got this for me a while ago. It's got the TARDIS and Daleks and little wormholes opening up all over. This was done by the Silver Shed. Oops. She does really nice work. Seams are all finished beautifully. There are no raw edges. She actually finishes, I can show you. This is the one, like, I'd say exposed, and this was where she turned it, but she still tucked in all the edges so there's no raw bits spitting out threads onto your yarn. So I've had 5 little balls of yarn traveling around with me. There you go. For the last 4 days or so. I started this on, I think I started it Sunday. I honestly don't remember when I started it. Pretty sure it was Saturday or Sunday. So I put Sunday on my Rav page. Now the thing I didn't realize when I started this, I read through the pattern, so I kind of had an idea what was going on. So if you'll remember last week, I was talking about how, okay, I'm not sure how this goes together. I knit this part, but then you do this part and then that part, and it's kind of like, then, smart me, I went over to the pattern page on Ravelry. I'm going to read to you off of there. This was actually done as a mystery knit along. Sometime last year or earlier this year. I think it was done last fall. And so the whole point of the shawl, first point of Libra, is an ancient term used by navigators and astronomers for the equinox that marks the beginning of autumn in the northern hemisphere and the beginning of spring in the southern hemisphere. So it's a casual garter wrap. A casual garter wrap is the perfect accessory for the warm days and cool nights of late summer, early fall. The triangular shawl uses a gradient set of 5 plus 550 yards of the same base in a very light color that plays nicely with your gradient. So this is actually, so the gradient set of 5 is what is riding around in here. And the entire set is called North Sea. North Sea happens to be the name of the main color. So it's very dark, looks kind of navy blue, blackish, but when you get up into it, there's all these blues and greens. It almost looks like it was overdyed with black. So it's got this gorgeous teal to it that I love. But the first bit, so I still need to wind the main color, obviously. The bit that I have done, and I hear a Tara not sleeping upstairs again, is, which way? Tara, go to bed. Sorry. This. So I have knit my 5. This is going to be hard to figure out how I'm going to hold this. So this is one of the legs of a V that is going to run up one side of the shawl. This, where it angles, starts angling in, this will be along the top edge of the shawl. And I have my 5 colors. So the 5 colors that are in it, if you're looking at her yarns, this is her smooth sailing gradient, she calls it, but the whole set is called North Sea. So the darkest color is, let me get this up here, this one, Tidal Pool. Then it goes to Sea of Glass, Glacial Lake, Arctic Ice, and then the last one is Polar Frost, I believe. I can't see what it says on the tag right now. So I finished this last night while hubby was gaming. I'm knitting it up on a US 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter needle, which is what the pattern calls for. I didn't swatch. It's a shawl. It's a shawl. It comes out too small, it becomes a shawlette. So that's fine. What I need to do when I'm done recording is wind this gigantic honking skein of 600 yards of fingering weight yarn so I can pick up the stitches along the one edge and start the, what is the center light triangle is the next bit in the pattern. So the way she did it is a very modular knit because it did come out as a mystery knit along. So it's not your typical start from the bottom point and work up, or start from the top and work down, or start from the top center and increases the whole way. That's not the way this shawl is constructed. It's a very interesting construction. You have a slip stitch garter edge. It's all garter stitch. It was very easy to memorize. I basically knit a glorified mini scarf with a pointed end. There we go. Could wear it like that. I'm not going to, but that's the only thing I've been working on. I haven't touched the crocheting at all. It just, I don't know. I needed a clean slate. That's all. I'll get back to the other stuff. But once I wind this up, I'll be able to pick up along the one edge of that strip that I just knit and get going on that center section. That's obviously going to take me a lot longer, so I might have to throw in a progress marker just so I can tell how much progress I've actually made and not get bogged down in, oh, it's all this dark garter stitch knitting, why did I do this to myself, before I get to the next fun bit that's along the other side that has all the colors in it again. So we'll see. We'll see how much I get done next week, because obviously it's not going to be I don't know, however wide that strip was, like 30 some odd stitches wide, and we're gonna have a daisy. Daisy Duke, do you want to come up and say hi? Come on, Munchkin. Come on, Stinky. Can I help you? Come on. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. There's a daisy. Oh, she doesn't like to be picked up. There she is. You smell. You smell bad. What have you been rolling in the yard? Did you find a dead toad? She's denying all knowledge of said toad in the yard, but I know she's been rolling in it because she smells bad. You need a bath, Stinky. Okay. Go. So, on to various and sundry. Since that's all I have, let's pop over to the any questions thread. Let me see. We're going to do a couple because obviously this is going to be a very short show otherwise. So, KPAR62 over on Ravelry, who she's posted several questions, and that's fine. Kathy from Fort Collins. Kathy, you're local. I'm going to scoot you guys over so I can read her question. Do the twins ever try to mimic your crafting? I know you're pretty busy when they're awake, so they may not see it as much as I'm assuming. Majority of my knitting stays away while the twins are awake, just because sharp needles and toddlers that like to jump on couches are not a good combination. So they really don't see a whole lot of it. When they were smaller, I did try to have it out more, but now they're a lot more active. It's a little harder to do. If I can send them off to play, say at a park or like at the splash pad the other day, I was able to settle down on a table, pull out my knitting, and keep an eye on them while I was able to get some stitches in. But they haven't really tried mimicking me too much yet. And I haven't tried pulling out the spinning wheel in a while because the last time that I did, there were little fingers going into moving parts and there were tears and it was just not good. So they know not to touch mommy's stuff. So no, they haven't been mimicking me as of yet. But we'll see how that progresses as they get older. So yeah, there you go. Second one is from a Mickey Knitter, who is... Oh, it doesn't have her name. So, a Mickey Knitter. Hi, Karen. A friend just inherited from a craft swap the Mason-Dixon knitting book on how to knit the log cabin blanket. Brought back memories of your beautiful beige modern log cabin blanket. Do you have any pictures? Oh, Anna. She signed it. Hi, Anna. Anna. I watched Frozen with the twins the other day. I'm sorry. The epic brown blanket. That was the bane of my existence. You guys will remember this if you've been with the show any length of time. I started it in August of 2011, finished it January of 2012. It was a wedding gift for a coworker who was not knit worthy. So toward the end of knitting on it, I just wanted it done and felt like I was knitting a lot of bad karma into it. So honestly, I finished it off. I washed that sucker, boxed it up and handed it off, and completely forgot to take pictures. So no, I have no pictures of the epic brown blanket. I'm so sorry. At some point in the future, I might knit another one for me, for our house, but as of right now, I have no plans for that, so we'll see. If you head over to my project page, it's way down the page. I've got everything sorted in time order, most recent to least recent, so you have to scroll back quite a ways. There is no photo associated with it, but it is under the name Epic Brown Blanket. And I used, let's see, 20 skeins of Cascade 220 Superwash in 4 different colors, and knit it up on a US 6. And it was rather huge and very warm. I did not double the yarn. It was held singly. Why did I do that to myself for another person that I didn't know their knit worthiness until after? That was my own mistake. I really should stop doing that. And to add to the non-knit worthiness of said person, a bunch of my coworkers had contributed money to me toward the purchase of the yarn. So it was a group gift from several of us on the floor. And we never got a thank you of any kind, either verbal, written, card, email, nothing. So nail in the coffin right there. And she left our floor shortly after, later that summer, I believe. So not very many of us worked with her anymore. But everyone kept asking me, did you ever get a thank you? Did you ever get a thank you? And I said, no, I never did. I'd tell you if I had. But yeah, looking at my notes, I finally gave up January 22nd and bound off block 9, the final block after 35 garter ridges. I just couldn't take it anymore, and I just wanted it out of the house. So I didn't even finish the whole thing, which is kind of sad. So, meh. I'll have to try it again someday. Let's see, should we do one more? Where are we at? We're only at 15 minutes. Yeah, let's do one more. Why not? If I've got the stuff here. So KPAR62, here's another question from you. Do you have a favorite brand of circular needles? I know you've knit a few sweaters, so was wondering what worked best for you. I have several favorite circular needles. It depends on what I'm knitting on. If I'm knitting socks, I really prefer Addi lace needles. I have tried the Addi sock rockets, got that right here. And I think my only issue with them, I got a pair that has a bad join where the yarn catches, where the cable joins the needle. Otherwise, I love the sock rockets. They're fabulous. You get the pointy tip of the Addi lace needles, but with the smooth finish, the nickel plating on the needles that's on your traditional Addi circulars. So I do like those, but just not that particular pair. Otherwise, I like I said, the gold finish of the lace ones. For sweaters, it depends. I do like, obviously, shawls. I'm using, for my first point of Libra shawl, I'm using my signature fixed circulars in size 4 with the stiletto points. Unfortunately, Signature no longer makes the fixed circulars. They only make the interchangeables. So I don't own any of the interchangeables. I can't speak to how they are. The only thing that I don't care for that I've noticed when I'm knitting on this, now this one's fairly straight, but if the needle, the circular, the cord, that's the word I'm looking for. If the cord gets wadded up in your bag, in your project bag, it's squinched, whatever reason, it retains that squinched shape when you pull it out the next day, which you can even see just me holding it in my hands. Like I try to undo it, it's still kind of wavy. It doesn't hang naturally. So that's the one downfall there. I do love the Signature circulars. It has that wonderful pointy tip, especially if you order the stiletto point. I also, of course I don't have them down here. I do I have 2 sets now because I found my old ones. Oh, no, never mind. I found my old set of Knit Picks circulars after I purchased a set that Amy Froggy Monkey from the Knitting in Circles podcast was destashing because I thought I'd lost mine. In fact, they had been put in the box that held the Christmas decorations for some reason. I don't know why. I found them. Yay! So now I have twice the number of circular needles. I found my Knit Picks double points, which is great. I don't use them often, but I do like to have them. They're nice to have for various small projects. And I like those because I've got a variety of cords. I know people have had issues with the cords pulling out of the base of, there's a little silver bit that screws into the actual end of the needle. The cord will pull out of that. I have experienced that, but not so much with my with my interchangeable circulars. I've experienced that with the fixed circulars when I was still using those for socks. So your mileage may vary. I do prefer metal over wood for circulars. I don't know why. It's just personal preference. A lot of people don't like the metal, especially the Knit Picks ones. They say they make their hands smell funny. I haven't noticed anything with me. It's just a body chemistry thing. Let's see what else. For sweaters specifically, I do like the Knit Picks ones, because I can take the ends off, slide a little thing on the end saying what size of needle I'm using if I need the needles somewhere else, and then put an end cap on, and then I can use those needles for another smaller project, come back to the sweater. So I do like that. But yeah, I've used several. I know some people that swear by the Hayas. I do not care for the cord. I don't know why. It's not flexible enough for me. It feels like it's very stiff and sticks out, but again, personal preference. If you love them, great, more power to you. I got rid of all of mine to a friend that loves them, so yay. I think that's it. We'll cut it off there. About 20 minutes long, and I hope you guys have a good week. Hopefully my week will improve, and I will see you all back here next week for episode 300. Yay! Till next week, happy knitting.